I've just finished watching the Microsoft conference from E3. I ended up having to watch it a lot later. I had to wait for it to get redone on YouTube because it was on while I was at work. So I've made a few notes and I'm going to talk you through what I saw. So obviously we saw the new Halo 5, but disappointingly as normal, all we really saw from what I could tell was a whole bunch of CGI. We didn't seem to see any gameplay. At least that's how it looked to me. It didn't look in the engine. If it was, then I apologise. But it just didn't look that way. This Recore game looks interesting, but I don't know. It depends what they do with it. One of the interesting things they mentioned after that was there's backwards compatibility for Xbox 360. But not only is it going to be like stick the disc in, which is going to really screw with Sony because Sony does PlayStation Now and that's only digital. So that's going to really mix things up. Not only can you play your 360 games, now you can stream them. That basically means you can bin your 360 and stream your 360 games while you're using your Twitch account. It's just, my god, that's a complete game changer. That really shifts things up for Microsoft against Sony, because Sony can only do the streaming for your PS4 games. You know, admittedly there might be stuff that's like last gen that might get ported, but I don't know if you can use the streaming facility with PlayStation Now. I'm guessing you can't. I'll have to look that one up. And the thing is, it costs nothing. You don't have to put any kind of subscription fee or anything. You just put the old games in and off you go. The Pro controller they released, obviously aside from the already new controller with the headphone jack, I see what they're trying to do with it, but to me it just looks messy and fiddly. And it's going to cost $150 US. I can't think what that is in UK currency, but still, that's expensive. Putting some new Fallout stuff, looking nice, but it's not that much different to what we already saw in the Bethesda thing, but obviously they showed a couple of extra gubbins here and there. However, any of the PC mods that happen will be playable on Xbox One. I don't know if that's going to be enough to shift units of Xbox One more than units of PS4 copies of Fallout 4, but it's an interesting toy to play with. There was, of course, the usual EA Access bit that we were all expecting, and that was just another yawn festival, as it normally is with EA. And of course, they showed Plants vs. Zombie, their new version, which we all knew was coming, and predictably, it was all in CG, and it just looked, well, like babyish mince, really. Well, for me personally, anyway. What else we got here? Yet another Forza game, which of course is technically very nice to look at, but all we really saw was yet more CG. We didn't see any in-game, gameplay, but they did show off the new 4GT, and there's another 4GT40, sorry. And although it's a very pretty car, and I'm sure it goes like shit off a shovel, it's like, so what? You're stuck another fancy car in another fancy game, like every other racing game out there. Just, yeah. Rehash. It's like Dark Souls 3. I'm not really a Dark Souls person. I'm sure if you are, you might have liked it, but to me, it just didn't fire me up. Yet another Division trailer with more bits, more CGI, but no actual gameplay. I don't know if Ubisoft will show any more of it later, but I think that's coming when it's coming, and it'll probably get downgraded and downgraded. What else we got? The whole bunch of indies, some of them looking quite nice. Ark, Tacoma, Ashen, they looked pretty, but there was another couple like Cuphead, and it's just annoying. It's like, I see where they were going for that sort of pre-war animation aesthetic, but it's just, I just didn't fancy it at all. Xbox game preview, I mean that's like, what you do on Steam. That's what they've copied. They've copied the Steam model of you're basically download the game and you're the tester. You're basically helping the developer build the game. So you're an unpaid tester. So it's got its good points. And admittedly, they are sticking DayZ in it and Elite Dangerous. So it's not horrible, but it is just, I don't know, it just doesn't strike me the right way. It's an interesting looking game, but the facelessness and, I don't know, something's missing. It's got some clever ideas. Tomb Raider, of course, just looked awesome, but they still have not said anything. They decided not to say anything about the exclusivity, so maybe that's gone, maybe it's still there. There's details there that need to be hammered out. There's a rare collection, which is a nice idea. You know, get all those old rare classics on one disc, which is easily doable with Blu-ray, and should prove to be, you know, quite nice for all the retro guys out there, because, you know, we've all, at least most of us in my sort of age bracket, we've played one or two rare games, and they were awesome back in the day. There's a game that looked kind of indie-ish. I think it's sort of mid-tier, called Sea of Thieves, and basically it's a pirate game. So it looks like they've gone sort of cartoony graphics almost. It looks like some of the old point-and-click stuff from back in the day, but basically it's pirates. So they've taken all the bits from Assassin's Creed Black Flag and chucked them in the game, made it a bit cartoony. Probably not as many assassinations, obviously, but you know, that might shift a few, and it looks interesting. And they've got Fable Legends, so they've taken all the good bits out of Fable, stuck it in an MMO, and you know, Molly's name is essentially dirt to most gamers, so I just don't see that shifting. But I could be wrong. Of course, Xbox partnered with Oculus Rift. Now what they showed here is basically you can stick your Xbox games, you fire your X1, hoop it to your PC somehow. I'm not quite sure, they didn't give the details. Once you've got it wired up to your PC, then your PC can talk to the Oculus Rift, and you can play your Xbox One titles on your Oculus Rift, which is pretty nice. But it sounds like a lot of faffing about, and you know, will it work with the older 360 titles? Who's to say? It's, you know, there's a lot of things being talked up, but whether or not they'll actually work, you know, it's great saying these things, but whether or not they work in real life is a complete different story. And then, of course, they whacked out HoloLens, as a lot of us were sure they were going to. And they gave us a rather interesting Minecraft demo, where there was they had this special camera, like they had at the Windows event earlier in the year, which was able to see what the guy with the HoloLens was seeing as well. So, you know, it was good, but it's like, really, another version of Minecraft? Do we really need another Minecraft? Really? But it was an interesting demo. It was clever, but a bit wanky, let's face it. They've redone Gears of War. They dropped the of War part. They've called it Gears 4. It's got an interesting sort of, I'd say, halfway between Castlevania and Resident Evil sort of aesthetic going on. But it seems to move nicely and has good mechanics, but we'll see how it shifts amongst those hardcore Gears of War fans. Because if they buy it, then we'll know it's okay. Of course, they made a few promises for Gamescom, so all the games you were expecting to see and that you were really revved up for, they're coming at Gamescom. So, on balance, Microsoft have done some pretty interesting things, but it's debatable as to whether or not they've done enough to win over what Sony will be doing in about 3.5-4 hours. So, you know, it's still unsettled. Sony might still pull it back. Microsoft, they possibly could be winning it, but quite frankly, as far as it goes right now, my tip for people who are for an organisation that's winning A3 right now, it's still Bethesda. That's just how I see it. Anyway, guys, you tell me what you think. You give your comments down below in the little section. Tell me what you think. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Maybe you think some of the same things I do, but you disagree in a couple of areas. Let me know. Anyway, please remember to rate, favourite, comment, share, and subscribe. And of course, as always, aye, nae bother.